but I think that like I truly think, and this is probably nihilism to a degree. I find myself pretty cynical about a lot of things, which is not good. I don't recommend it. But it just makes me think that like if you think back 100 years, which is nothing in the scope of history, right? How much societal values have changed. There's been some good stuff that's come out of that, right? Like, I mean, the fact that racism is mostly gone, maybe that's controversial to say, but it's not how it was 100 years ago, right? Like, that's not up for debate. Objectively, things are way better. Same thing is for women, right? Like, objectively, things are way better. Those things are good. Those things are like positives that have come out of society and progress. But I also think that there is stuff like we go too far on sometimes, right? Like 100 years from now, I mean, we're going to be even today, right? Like we laugh about it because it's made famously funny, right? But like we're already like undoing biological terms. Like people don't know shit that was really basic up until like a couple of years ago, right? Like men and women and the differences between them, and just admitting that like guys, the DNA is different, like the chromosomes are different, we're different, we're not the same. You can't just make this stuff up. There's a science to it, right? Like that's controversial nowadays. So I'm like 100 years from now, right? Like human beings might not even be, you might not be male or female at that point, right? Maybe you're just a human. You could be cybernetic. Like you just don't know. I mean, people are already working on some of that technology. So it just scares me to think like the whole like dystopian cyberpunk future thing that has been a trope of like science fiction and fantasy literature and video games and movies and stuff. Like we really might be headed there. I mean, Elon, for all the good that he's doing for the planet, like he's trying to colonize Mars. Like he said that out loud. And that's a crazy thing to think, but it's like, dude, we might not be a single planet species 100 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, who knows when the breakthrough comes, right? But like stuff could really change. And I think about my kids and it's like, I don't know how they're supposed to cope in a world where it's like things like biology are like, they're literally being eroded by technology and progress. Like it's just crazy to think about. It's hard to get your head around at times. You know what I mean? Like
It's weird.
I feel pretty like nihilistic about the whole future of humanity because I think we're going to continue to progress. Like I think technology will continue to have leaps. I just don't know that they're always positive. You know what I mean? Like social media has been, I think, objective. It's fair to say that social media has had a negative effect on young people.
For sure has.
Not to say that there's no good has come out of it. That wouldn't be true either. Right? Like it's amazing that you can keep up with people on the other side of the planet at the push of a button, right? Like that was unheard of previously. So like there's definitely been some positives, but I just like suicide rates astronomically higher now for young people because if they don't get invited to the party, 20 years ago, right? It's like, oh, well, you didn't know because you were at home. Now it's you're going to watch your friends go have fun without you online and wonder what's wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
kids are growing up with that stuff, and it's like we don't know how to help them with that. We didn't go through it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's blind leading the blind.
Like I can personally say that for my child, we are trying to like really limit screen time because it's impossible to screen everything that kids watch. And people blatantly put stuff in there that's not their business to teach my children at content for 2 and 3 year olds.
Yeah, they found like porn on like YouTube Kids.
Well, that or like, I mean, you remember it was a couple of years back they had the weird like Momo character that started popping up in children's videos. Like that shit's scary, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
I heard
your
about
kid doesn't
that.
need
That
to
was...
see that. It's just impossible to screen everything. I mean, it is.
It
so
is.
we I try and limit.
I mean, you remember like
what's up?
You remember like because we grew up with the internet like began. Like,
Yeah.
you know how much all the crazy shit you could get from like LimeWire?
100%.
Frostwire? Or whatever
Yeah, I mean, I killed
it.
the computer with LimeWire, dude.
Yeah, I've downloaded some crazy stuff, and I was watching it like, oh. And I was like
Yeah.
a kid.
Dude, and we had to work for it back then. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
this was like not as easy as
Yeah.
let me just go click up, incognito mode. All right, cool. Let me just Google literally anything my mind can conjure. Like,
Yeah,
that's
Mom, get off the phone
crazy.
and get on the internet to download this questionable video that I
Yeah.
don't know what's it's going to be.
Or you have
You
to, you
know,
know what I
I
mean? You
have to
got to
say-
stay up till 3 a.m. to go up to the one family desktop everyone has, right? Like nowadays, it's like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom real fast. Kids on their cell phone, and it's whatever they want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And actually, this brings up something that actually DJ and I were talking about this just a little bit earlier, but you know, and you know, I know DJ had already answered this, but Tyler, have you seen a show called Black Mirror on Netflix?
Yes, big fan.
Okay,
Big fan.
so yeah, so I've seen like I think I've seen like every episode now.
I haven't watched it all.
Um,
I've watched a lot of it, and I've really enjoyed what I've seen.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you know you look at their vision of the future, and you know like right now we have VR, and you know you can put the headset on, and you know it's so interactive, it's crazy, you feel like you're right there, and you know then in Black Mirror you've got you know them literally you know wiring stuff up right to your brain, right to your consciousness, and you feel and you just drift off into La La Land and you're right there, you know. And then taking it one step further, that one episode, San Junipero, where you know you realize halfway through, you know, kind of spoiler, but you realize halfway through that everyone in San Junipero, that city, is either already dead or they're in like retirement homes about to die, and their consciousness has been uploaded to a cloud where you're experiencing like a man-made afterlife, and you know they're adjusting how they experience it and all this stuff, and you know it's enough to make you wonder right there, like before this would have been classified science fiction, but as we continue to progress, you know, shows like that and shows like Altered Carbon, where
Altered Carbon was
you
what
know
I was going to
they've
bring up.
managed to they've managed to you know defy death basically, and
For the rich.
you have sleep.
They've defied death for the rich,
Yeah, exactly.
which is another thing to think about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
You
so
know?
glad that I'm probably going to be dead for all this.
So I mean, same, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, dude, like we got
Get out
kids,
to deal
both of
with
us.
it, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that stuff is there's nothing
I'm
to
going to
do,
teach my
right?
kids
Like
how
you
to
can't
fish.
do anything
how
about
to
it.
hunt. How to live
Yeah.
in the woods.
Be sure
True,
to
but
do that.
think about how much property that there isn't now. You know what I mean? Like how much property has been eaten up in
Mhm.
the last 10 years by you with developments.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm.
I hate Norfolk. I don't pay attention to what happens around here. It's
Yeah,
too big
but
and it's too many
you see
people.
what I'm saying? It's like it's one day it's going to be like you won't be able to go to the woods, man. Like you're not going to be able to unless it's a protected state park, right? That stuff is disappearing
True.
every year.
Yeah.
Even the
Yeah.
Midwest, I mean, rural small towns are turning into tech hubs out there in Indianapolis, or you know, in Indiana, because it's cheap to live, and people are like, "Oh, I can work remote out here." Now all of a sudden, there's 11 Starbucks and a Whole Foods, and here come all the
I won't
neighborhoods.
say this.